So I'll be focusing on the effect of extracurriculars upon academics. So you may wonder, how does learning the piano correlate to improving your skill in languages, or maybe how any subject in fact can bring that low grade a notch above? That's the secret of extracurriculars. These relations are so uncanny, and yet we see change around us. You may you may wonder, how do these changes happen? And that's what I'm going to discuss further into this presentation. So to make this more, to support my thesis, I've taken a study from 2009. Now, the study was a bunch of researchers taking the grades from students from grade 3 to 6, and this consisted of 134 students. Now, these students have been divided into three segments. Students who participate in school or out of school, which consist of 53 students. Students who do not participate in music or handicraft consist of 47 students, and students who participate in a handicraft instead of music consisting of 14 students. Well, the math really doesn't add up, but that's because we had few students who couldn't be properly segmented. Now, to make this a more reliable research, they tried to analyze different grades from French, German, science, math, a whole diverse range to make it more reliable. And their main goal was to answer the question, would strumming a guitar for a few days improve your grade in math? Or did you have to strum it a little longer to see that change? So when they analyzed the grade 3 students, they didn't really see a change in their score. But that doesn't really mean that the research failed. So hence they took upon an overall sample size of all the students in grade 3 to 6, and they did see a difference. And hence we can understand that the longer you spend with an instrument or a craft, the more improvement you see in your school grades. Now let's take upon sports and academics. So all life we've always been dividing sports and academics, and we've been allotting a certain amount of time period into sports, and so it doesn't get distracted with academics. And with that theory, we know that people don't know the science behind it. So exercise actually improves our blood flow to the brain. And because of that, we're improving our intellectual functions. For example, thinking, learning, decision-making, or processing information. But how do we relate that to general school subjects? And hence, when we found out that these students who participate in sports actually found a 20% increase in their grades. For example, in math or science and German and French. So hence we understand that it not only affects things, subjects such as math or science, but it also helps us in languages. But I wasn't really comfortable with what the results were, because I thought maybe a different education system, different country, or even different time period would have played a role in these results. So I took on my own research question, and that is, what is a skill you have gained from taking upon an instrument, and how it helped you in school? And this sample size were mostly related to IB diploma students who were interested in music. And the popular result that I analyzed was how it improved memory skill. But how? So many students who are interested in music, they actually take upon a focus on learning their own sheet music. Hence, it plays a big role in their memory skill. And especially in our education system, we see that memory plays a large role. And hence, students who have this interest in instruments actually have a better memory. But I know this is about extracurriculars and academics, but how does this play outside our report card? So beyond grades, we know that there's actually an overall mindset development, and that's mostly focused upon self-discipline and time management. So because we had to focus on so many diverse topics, sports and arts and crafts, so we always need to know how to manage our time. Hence, knowing that the time management plays a key role in people who are interested in extracurriculars and academics. And how does this help us? It also helps us in students who are interested in taking upon later many subjects, in fact, diverse subjects in college. And also, in fact, it helps us in high school too. And this leads us to have a more stress-free mindset, and helps us take upon more diverse courses. But let's look aside a little beyond the common extracurriculars we think of when someone tells us to take upon a task. For example, debate. Normally, it is famous for challenging our mind and making us think better. But what other skills do we see? So after another survey, I was understand that it improves our soft skills and mainly our listening skills. But how do we take this upon into a more classroom environment? A student once said that her soft skills and listening skills improved, and how it helped her was in an English class, especially. She was able to not only convince her point, but she was able to analyze the point that was given by the teacher or other students, hence making her build off that argument. And these listening skills are so important to us because not only would it help us in a certain English class, but it helps us in the future. We take upon any employee from any MNC or any company, in fact, we understand that they talk about how listening skills are so important and help us move up in the career ladder. Hence, why don't we start building this skill from a young age and start with debate? Well, for me, I was convinced with secondary data or surveys, so I took upon a little personal anecdote. So I started the violin around the age of 12 or 13, and how I realized there was a correlation to my grades. But that would be a stretch to assume that they're suddenly like directly proportionate. So I talked to my violin teacher, and he said that the violin actually helps you improve your memory. But we already talked about that improves your memory through learning sheet music. But he also said that it's also a good distraction. But how do we know a distraction is good? The distraction has such a negative diction towards it, so we never understand how it benefits us. We understand that people who focus upon grades always feel like that's where they're leading in life, and hence they put so much pressure upon that, hence not being able to cope with stress or failure. But over time, people who focus on extracurriculars, they know they have a future in music or sports, hence not applying that much pressure. And it also helps us make our mind wander off to places like running a 200-meter track or even like playing a canon in D. In conclusion, I was trying to convey about how there is a world outside and beyond your report card. It teaches us how to pick up the paintbrush on a Friday night when you cannot solve your math homework. And it teaches us that you can strive well in the academic and a world beyond academics to help you with your mental and your general fitness. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjana. We'll be sure to take